So we said that this CD is dependent upon the Reynolds number as well as the beta, that is a D by capital D. In fact, for orifice, if we look at for orifice, if we plot it CD versus Reynolds number, small d, here it is say 0.5, say this is 0.7, this is 0.9 or something like this. You will find that the with Reynolds number CD increases and then again decreases, and finally the it comes to almost some steady state there. So we can say for Reynolds number greater than 10 to the power 4, this is CD is independent of Reynolds number. We can say it is almost constant, and it varies between, for orifice, CD is basically, okay, it's come small, is between 0.6 to 0.7 normally. But details, calculations and details estimations are there. You can go through any other book and we can say it. But what we can say that the orifice has got normally the Reynolds number is in the, the discharge coefficient is approximately a figure of 0.6 to 0.7. Approximately this is it here, in the range of area. But what are there are, though, we can say, the advantages of the orifice. So what we need is that in this case, obviously we will have to place some orifice plate, have a differential pressure, we call it transmitter, maybe a diaphragm type with capacitance or the strain gauge or LVDT type output, and that will give you area. And this relationship was basically Q is equal to CD into A2 divided by root over 1 minus beta 4 to the power 2G by gamma into P1 minus P2. That was our relationship. But for this orifice, if we look at it, there are several advantages as well as certain disadvantages also. So, advantage is that obviously simple in construction. Number 2, easy to install. And definitely as a result, low cost. This is obviously area. Because you just put a break of this one, insert the orifice plate and then bolt it at these two ends, it would be area. But it has got certain disadvantages also there. Disadvantage is sensitive to wear and vibration, because we have shown you that the orifice edge is very sharp. We have shown you the orifice edge is very sharp, so naturally there will be wear and tear, that changing the value of small d, and there may be some vibration and all other things. Next is more objectionable is that permanent pressure drop in the range of about 40%. What is meant by permanent pressure drop? So, if we look at it, as I told, that this was our pipeline, I have inserted the orifice, obviously I have put and here again the so this was the flow rate. Mind it, in this case, obviously you can easily understand the orifice meter or the venturi meter or all the obstruction type flow meter can measure flow rate in one direction only. Definitely, this if it is in the other direction, the P1, P2, that tapping point is different, and naturally it will give you wrong reading. So, always you will find any flow meter, there is always showing it that is a what should be the direction of the flow rate, that has to be put it like that. But what I wanted to say is that what is meant by permanent pressure drop in the range of 40%. What I said is that definitely that is a pressure profile, we can call it. That is, what is a pressure profile? Say, suppose the pressure profile, it was like this. Just before the orifice, it will go rise, and then after the orifice, it will come down. Just a minute. After that, it will come down, and after that, it will slowly rise. But there would be always some permanent drop of 40%. So, this pressure will, was the pressure, it will increase before this one and decrease after the orifice there, but while recovering, it will not be able to recover fully the pressure and there would be about 40, 30 to 40% area. Okay, this one I think I have missed it. Beta is equal to 0.8 in this case, and this is beta is equal to 0.2. So for different beta, it was, I forgot to this one. But anyway, in this case, what is the problem if the permanent pressure drop is 40% or like this? Just think of a case there that, okay, we are using a pump to pump water to the 5 floors of the building, 5th floor, up to 5th floor there. So we have purchased a pump that will be sufficient enough to move it, pump the water up to the over a tank or 5th floor on this one. Now we thought that, okay, now we want to measure what is the flow rate. I am taking it. I want to put a orifice plate flow meter there. If the orifice plate, I have put it at the inlet here to measure the flow rate, then what will happen? There will be always, after this one, the pressure, whatever we are giving, it will not be able to recover that pressure, and there would be some drop in the pressure permanently. And as a result, after the orifice, the pump will not be able to pump water, say, till the 3rd floor. So naturally, it's a big problem there. And if we want to really pump water to the 5th floor level, we need to increase the motor size. We need to increase the more pressure to drive that one to the pump there. So naturally, then only we go for it. So naturally, there is we say obviously that low cost orifice is low cost because it is simple to use. You can construct and put it like this there easily. But the major issue is that at the long run, you are sacrificing because the cost will be more because you are not being able to use it, pump the water to that high level. So as a result, what will happen is that we will have to increase of the pump size or the A there, that will their cost that will be another problem of this one. So in the long, what we can say that in the first loop, the orifice is simple or like this, but there is a possibility of permanent pressure drop which we need to take care. Otherwise, we have to use something else there. What else? So definitely we look for something which is and substitute for orifice which will have the permanent pressure drop will be less. That is called by what we call it a Venturi meter there or Venturi tube. So what is a Venturi tube? It says that earlier we said that, okay, let the pipe be intact, we just make a cut and put the orifice there. But instead of that one, Venturi, you look into the name Venturi tube, actually it is a tube which is connected to the, at two ends to the original pipeline. So if we look into it, it would be like this. And okay, I just So, in this case, basically, there was an abrupt change in pressure, rather the there, what we profile, the shape of this one in a orifice plate, but in this case, there is a, it is not that. So, what we can say that this is your D, capital D. After that, once you connect, so this is a venturi, this whole DA is your venturi tube there. This you need to, cut a section of the pipeline and insert the venturi tube in it like this. It has got a typical cross section. That means it decreases initially and then slowly rises. And another thing is that means it gives you a guidance that how would be the flow pattern. And definitely in this case, the minimum flow area is, or the vena contracta, is the basic throat diameter there. So here it is, small d is the basic throat diameter here, and that is also the minimum flow area or vena contracta. And definitely this, again, this is a some sort of nozzle, converging diverging nozzle type of thing. Then again it is diverges and put it like this there. So what is its advantage? It is, advantage is that the CD is very close to 1, because you know that, as I have told, that minimum flow area is approximately the venturi diameter. So the advantage is that high CD, in fact it is 0.98 to 0.99 type. Okay. Next is that no permanent pressure drop, because it provides a profile, and accordingly it provide the pressure here there, and in this case after certain time the pressure gets the original, gets back to the original here. So the permanent pressure drop problem, which we caused a big problem for us for orifice, is now overcome here. And third one is that high physical strength. Because it is not like fragile like orifice, so naturally it is a concrete here there, tube there, and it has got a high physical strength here. But at the same time, you can say that the disadvantage is high cost involved. It is high cost involved because the tube has to be made a particular profile. Those things are the design issues are given in any mechanical book or Bentley or Doeblin. You will find it out and those details there. And but and this fabrication according to this one is costly. But definitely in the long run, what we can say, the venturi tube is preferred. Actually, we'll find it in the power plant or like this, where actually you need to measure flow rate at definitely here there. You prefer to use venturi tube there. Obviously, there is a compromise between an orifice and a venturi tube is called flow nozzle. It is not as costly as venturi tube, but not far better than far more than orifice, and at the same time the pressure drop is not zero but much better compared to the orifice right there. Okay. Next is, there are, obviously there should be some, this all the things has to be placed in horizontal line. If it is, there is an angle or like this there, then there would be always some correction needed, unless it is not taken care of, that it is not horizontal. Definitely we require, it will give you some erroneous reading. Apart from that, if we want to fabricate and install it, because as I told that the flow meters are numerous in any plant industries and like this there. So you must be very careful, because often the wrong installation causes the problem there. So the installation guidelines are also important there. Installation guidelines are that, notice, no obstruction or bending is allowed near the flow meter, because this obstruction or bending will often cause you the change in profile of the pressure and etc. That will cause you the error there. Another important thing is here there, which is always a headache for us, is that you see we need to measure the pressure difference P1 minus P2, that is a delta P. But the flow rate is related to the, being all other things there, it is, flow rate is related to the pressure difference. So to the square root of the pressure difference. Flow rate is proportional to the square root of the pressure difference. So naturally, once we measure the pressure difference, that is not enough. I need to square root the A there, signal there, and then only we can get proportional to A there. So as a result, what will happen, since the flow rate Q is proportional to delta P, a square root extraction circuit is needed. Okay. So that is an important. So it is another headache and another overhead. We can say it a flow meter there. So what we need is that if we look at it, we need for measurement of flow rate of the obstruction, using obstruction type flow meter, which is the most popular one because of its ruggedness, cost, and etc. there. So what we require is installation of a orifice or venturi tube. We require a pressure, a device to measure the pressure difference or pressure differential pressure sensor, which will give you some electrical output. And again, that electrical output, we need to square root the electrical output. Then only we can get the flow rate, output voltage proportional to the flow rate. So naturally, it's a cumbersome, and also it requires a different area. How to do the square rooting, I will explain you in another class. But let us keep it in mind that this square root extraction circuit is also needed. And the thing is that accuracy is low if flow rate is low, because this is a square root one. So if the flow rate is very low, then the accuracy will also become very low there. That is another issue there. So, but definitely it is advantages of the this type of obstruction type flow meter, but rather particularly this venturi and orifice and flow nozzle is that it is very rugged and it can handle very high flow rate or like this there. There are others, but we will come to down this one there. Now, obviously, I will try to, in this context, I will try to put another A also there, is that we have so far discussed the flow measurement of liquid. Mostly, as I told, the mostly useful liquid is, in this case, is water there. But often we require to measure the flow rate of air flow rate. If it is a thermal power plant, we need to measure the steam flow rate. So, which are basically air or steam, which are basically compressible fluid. So, for compressible fluid, actually, which is basically air or steam or this sort of thing. So, naturally, the correct Bernoulli's equation is changing. Bernoulli's equation, its modified Bernoulli's equation is gamma divided by gamma minus 1 into P1 divided by rho 1. Mind it, in this case, it is compressible. So, naturally, rho 1 is not equal to rho 2. Plus of 1 half of V1 square plus of G into H1 is equal to gamma by gamma minus 1 into P2 by rho 2 plus of half of V2 square plus of G of H2. And this gamma is basically specific heat ratio, that is Cp by Cv ratio there. So, naturally, these things are complicated, but overall what is that is considered is in volumetric, I mean the mass flow rate, the compressible flow, that is the air or what we call it steam in this case, since the density is not constant. So, we express them in terms of mass flow rate. That means the flow rate at that instant we multiply it by the density, and this is given as y w is equal to some y is the correction factor a2 divided by root over 1 minus beta to the power 4 into root over 2 rho 1 into p1 minus p2. This y is a correction factor. And this y value is given as a complicated one, but just I am giving you the value of y as y is equal to 1 minus 0.41 plus of 0.35 beta to the power 4 into P1 minus P2 divided by P1 into gamma. Okay, I will put it the gamma here. Okay. So these are the things there. This details you can get it in Bentley's book. But what I wanted to say is that it is also possible to measure the flow rate of compressible fluid, that is air or gaseous, those who are in gaseous state. But in this case, some different measurement is in terms of the mass flow rate, and also we need to put some more extra correction factor, which includes the uh, gamma, that is the specific weight ratio there. Okay. Before I conclude, one more thing which is very simple type of here there. Uh, Obstruction type flow meter. It's called Pitot tube. In fact, Pitot tube is very useful for measurement of flow rate, air velocity, or like this. In fact, if we see, if we travel through an aeroplane, you will find in its fin there are several holes or some small tubes are taken or exposed there. That is basically Pitot tube to measure the velocity of the aeroplane there. So it is a very useful technique there. Also, not only for air velocity, for the velocity of moving vehicle like submarine or ships or like this Pitot tube is very much in use there. So it is very simple type instruction. Say suppose I have a flow, this is flowing here, and in between I put a blunt object. I put a blunt object here. So if I put a blunt object, so what will happen? The flow will come, and at this point, this velocity is becoming 0 because it comes here, it stops here. And if the velocity is 0, then we can see easily, we can understand it surely. All the energy, the kinetic energy is converted into a potential energy, and as a result, the pressure here will increase. So, for incompressible fluid, that is P1 divided by gamma plus V1 square divided by 2G is equal to P2 by gamma plus of V2 square divided by 2G. But this point is equal to 0 because V2 is equal to 0. So what we get is that V1 square divided by 2G is equal to P2 minus P1 divided by gamma. In this case, interestingly, the P2 value will be more compared to P1. That is an interesting thing. But in the other cases, P2 is always less than this one. So we can say that V1 is equal to root over 2G by gamma into P2 minus P1. And this is known as, of course, this is a there, and we need for correct compressible fluid, we need some correction factor in this case. So it is valid for incompressible fluid, but for compressible fluid, we can do the things there. So what can we have a Pitot tube look like? I am just considering it as a manometer. So the height will be given is that P2 minus P1. So what is it? And this is some liquid there. So what is there? This is the pitot tube. This is your pitot tube. So in this case, what is happening? This outer wall, it may not be in that form because in aeroplane and like this, it is exposed like this. But I have put a tube, and one end of this one, other end of the tube is some manometer on the liquid, so that there is no flow rate. So we are putting it, this V2 is equal to, in this case, putting it V2 equal to 0. So naturally, the difference between P2 and P1, we can relate it by this relationship and measure the velocity of the wind, or rather the velocity of the aeroplane. Obviously, we will have to put some correction factor for the compressible fluid and etc. So that is basically the basic way of pitot tube, what you call it. But it is submarine, it is used for measurement of velocity of many of the moving vehicles in submarine or aeroplanes and etc. there. Okay. So corrections is needed for compressible fluid. Okay. I think, okay. Another, before I start, next day, obviously, I will start that one. The next one is the rotameter. Another obstruction type flow meter, rotameter. I will not go into detail of this rotameter. I think those who have done the laboratory, they have at least have some idea that how the rotameter looks like. Okay. I will rather tell you some story after that one. I will not go into the basic principle or this one, that I will carry out in the next class, but I will tell you some story there of the rotameter. So if we look at it, rotameter is a vertical type of there tube, and this is called it is tapered. And here there is a float. It is tapered outwardly like this, it is diverging on this one. There is a float there. Okay. So the idea is that as the float tries to go down because of the gravity, but on the other hand, the force due to the, or the kinetic energy due to the flow rate, it will try to move up like this there. So depending upon the velocity, it will place the float at a particular point, and where you will get it something, what is where, look at the position of the float, and then you try to get an idea of where is the what is the flow rate. That is the principle. We will discuss it in detail, but we will tell you a story there. The thing is that actually, if we look at it, though since you are in third year and studying control, there is a good relationship between this control and this instrumentation, particularly flow measurement. Because if we look at it, the major requirement for control, one of the cases was that to operate the water clock and to those things giving you the accurate timing, and as a result we required the flow rate of the water coming out of a tank or like this must be always constant there. That was the basic requirement, and that is the way we went it for this flow control or like this there. But there is another interesting use of this one was that in the China, it has been reported in China, I think around 1000 AD. What was there that in those days, it was very old days or like this. It has been reported by the travelers or like this there. So what happened is that they used to have a community festival there. So the community festival and they has a lot of food as well as the wine like this there. So community festival in a big drum, the wine was kept and people used to have some straw that is called a bamboo straw. Hmm. To take out of this one. But the point is that definitely there were some crazy guys there who would always suck it hard and make the drum empty. So naturally, the others were deprived of those things there. So what they told and what they did is that, so it was a bamboo straw. Is a very beautiful example of a what we call it a control like this there. Not a control is not simply mathematics or like this. It has got certain very engineering aspects there. If we recall that if I just consider it's a bamboo straw and you know the bamboo has an yeah, diverging or we can it is, we can have a what we can call it diverging characteristics or tapered characteristics like this. Not only that, what they did, we know if you recall, the bamboo has got certain hinges there after certain distance there. Bamboo has got certain hinges after some regular distances. If you see it, there will be some outwardly some area. And they modified. So what they did is that similar tapered type of bamboo straw, and they modified the straw in this manner. So what will happen? This is your float rather. So the straw was like this and this was the bamboo obstructions or wedge you can say it and the float is like this. So what will happen? You require a certain amount of flow rate to be active here. If the flow rate is too low, we require a certain pressure difference to maintain. So in that case, so the flow rate is too low, the float will be at the bottom, that will be obstructing, that will no flow will come there. And if the flow rate is too high, you are sucking it too fast, the pressure difference is high, the float will move up. But while it moves up, at this point, it will stop the flow rate again. So you can see this is another example of what we call it an on-off control. You require to have a flow rate in between these two extremes here. And accurately you create some pressure difference there. And then only you will be able to drink the wine, otherwise you will be deprived. And just to see, those people, they didn't have any idea about the complex Bernoulli's principle and all the things there, but they nicely made it to fool those people who were very smart and tried to suck the things very fast there. So this is one example, and we'll see that we'll come back to that one. The rotameter is exactly the same principle which we added. Obviously, the credit goes to it, to the earlier Chinese, I'll call it technologist,